సార్ హలో
చెప్పమ్మా.
సార్ ఇది ఇలా అసైన్మెంట్ ఇచ్చారు కదా సార్ నిన్న సబ్మిట్ చేయమని, అవి ఈరోజు కొంచెం 4 వరకు పెడతారా సార్? లాస్ట్ టైం
లాస్ట్లో గుర్తు చేయండి ఈరోజు క్లాస్ అయితే.
ఓకే సార్.
హలో సార్.
చెప్పండి అమ్మా.
సార్ నిన్న అసైన్మెంట్ ఇచ్చారు కదా సార్? సార్
చెప్పండి చెప్పండి, వింటున్నాను.
అసైన్మెంట్ లో మేము కరెక్ట్ గానే ప్రోగ్రామ్ చేస్తున్నా కానీ రాంగ్ అని చూపిస్తుంది సార్.
లేదు లేదు, మీరు కరెక్ట్గా చేయట్లేదు అని అర్థం. అలాగే చెప్తున్నాను కదా, నిన్న కూడా మీకు ఎగ్జాంపుల్ చెప్పాగా, పీపుల్ ఛాలెంజ్ మీ బట్ స్టిల్ దే హ్యావ్ రాంగ్స్. నిన్న ఒక అబ్బాయి పంపించాడు, అందులో కూడా నేను మిస్టేక్ చూశాను, తనకి పంపించాను కూడా వాట్సాప్ లోనే. ఈజ్ ఆల్సో astonished that correct why it has gone wrong. Somebody please switch off your mics except the person who is talking.
సార్ గసగసాలు ఇవ్వలేదు, తర్వాత స్టీల్ పీచ్ ఇవ్వలేదు.
Somebody please switch off your mic. Okay, so I think book which you had in your previous semester, which I have already shared with you, how to code in Python. So in this book you will have these concepts of inheritance and all, because you will start with classes. There is a chapter called class in which everything is introduced, including just a second, yeah, including the super function also, where we have to use super function and all. So it works as a theory for your exam. So you can just go through this particular note. It actually doesn't look like a textbook, but it is like a notebook only. He will explain everything with examples. That's very good to learn. It's an entire Python book. So you can also just go back to the previous chapters if you have any doubt in Python, and he will explain it with colors and all. So I like it very much actually when compared to the very great professional Python books. So I encourage studying this book once, and Think Python is another book which you had. I think there are no class examples or detailed explanation in that. If possible, you go through this book because we have a detailed explanation about classes and inheritance and all. You can see how the classes are mentioned with clear examples. So when you go through this, you will also learn a lot of programs, how actually it works, because not everything we can discuss in the class. That's what I want to reiterate to you every time. So you have this understanding class and instance variables. This is a very good explanation, which we have discussed yesterday. What is class and instance variables? So do you have this book with you? I remember that I have shared it with you all.
Yes, sir, we have.
Yes, sir, we
Okay,
have.
then. So for your examination, you can go through up to polymorphism, whatever we cover today. Up to that, you can go through. Okay, right. Just closing it up. Right. So yesterday, I think we have. Yeah. Yesterday, while I am working with this Stanford this thing, so few examples they have given for me to explain this Thursday for the people in Coding Play Stanford. So I have to do this program for myself, and then for day after tomorrow, so I need to explain that. So I found it very interesting. Stanford is providing something like a simple image.py file. If I can find that file, I will just download it and give it to you if possible. We can do a lot of manipulations with images, or we can also have something like Pillow. It's a library which you can. It's a package which you can download in your Python interpreter, and you can do a lot with it. See the changes which I can do here in this program. So this program says that you have this image, and this image is actually what we say, all the brighter pixels, we are actually making them into grayscale. It's quite interesting actually. Yesterday we have discussed about rectangle and square, right? So to prepare rectangle and square, also filling up all the pixels with the color which we want is very easy using these programs and using the simple image. So we can create a simple frame, and in this we fill the pixels of what we want. So like that, I have made many things like cropping. The next example is cropping. The next example is a add border example, and add border in the sense for the same image. So you can see here, for the same image, you can have this border like the black color border. So it's quite interesting when we work out with these. So this was eligible for us because I am an instructor, volunteer instructor in that. I don't know whether it will be open to the public. Let us see if it is opening to the public. We can also do some exercises on this as part of our programming. Okay, now coming back to this, let's discuss about the remaining super function which we can look into that. So yesterday we have discussed about multiple inheritance and single inheritance also, how we can do that, and I think many of you have done the program also for inheritance, and you know what is that. And let me start with something like yesterday's program, right? Now for example, if I write like this, can anybody say what is this? Why I'm writing this in the bracket? So what does object mean now in this? Anybody can guess?
Object is a class, like the superclass.
Yes, that's correct. So object stands as a superclass. Remember, in Python, everything is considered as an object, an int variable. So that is the reason why we say if a is equal to 6, if you find the type of a, it will give the class a. So I hope you remember that. I will just show you here. So if we can go through this Python 3, I think I just want to clear the screen. because yesterday a lot of installations are there. Python 3. Okay, if for example I say a is equal to 6 and I find a type of a, so it gives us the class int. Remember, even your 6 is an object, okay, and whatever objects that you have, for example, you declare something like class example, and you have written something like pass, that's all, and you have been declaring some object, something like e is equal to example. Okay, so E, just find out the type of E. So it says that there is a class called example, and this E belongs to the class called example. That means your E is an object here, which is belonging to the class called example. And your 6 is an object here, which is referred by A, which is belonging to the class called integer. So remember, whether it is primitive or non-primitive data structure, your class that you are designing, like the example or the human, is always a user-defined data structure. And they also come as non-primitive data structures, like you design your arrays, right? Your lists and all. So in that, whatever we learned in the previous slides, the data structures and all. So remember, this also will be included in the examination. So the diagram that you have, that we have shown in the previous classes, the data structures classes introduction, we have said that there are primitive and non-primitive data structures. In non-primitive data structures, we have arrays, lists, and all. Remember, these are predefined non-primitive data structures, arrays, lists, whatever it might be. And now you are defining your own data structure, which is called as class, in which you are including few functions, you are including few data on which the functions has to act. So these are called user defined. So in both of these examples, whatever I have highlighted now, the class int is a predefined primitive data structure, and the class here now I'm highlighting is a user defined non-primitive data structure. That's what you need to understand. So remember, everything in Python is an object. So that is the reason for everything that you create, whether it might be an integer, whether it might be a list, object is the parent. Object is the parent. I hope you remember this, right? Data is the superclass of all the animals that are having the vertebrates and all, right? So next class is vertebrae, and then it is divided into different things like mammals, reptiles, and all. Now, in our case, we have the superclass called object. So this object is not holding a capital O, it's a small o. So instead of char data, you have object as the super class. It's the super class of all the classes, whether it is user defined or predefined. That is the reason why I have written this one, and still it accepts. If you even remove it, by default, it will always inherit from the object. Whether you keep it or not, it's not a matter. If you keep it, then people will know that, okay, you know that object is the superclass of all the classes here in Python. If you don't keep it, it's also neutral. So you're not expressing whether you know or not. But for your kind information, I am telling this, that all the classes and objects in this Python world are derived from a class called object, and hence it is eligible for you to keep like this. So you are honoring the object and telling that from which we are deriving. For example, so you might be asking me, sir, okay, class object, I don't know whether you got this doubt or not, but I got this doubt. Okay, my human class is inheriting from object. So what could be that I am inheriting here? Anything that you can say? This actually should be from your side. What could be the human inheriting? Okay, I got one thing, one answer in the chat. Srinidhi functions, but I want the specific thing because walk and run is mine. But what is the specific thing that you might be inheriting? What could be the recognized
Constructor.
one? Yeah.
Constructor.
Yes, constructor. So once you write in it, it's actually taking the property and the functions from the main object. So that is the reason why init is recognized as a constructor. Why walk is not recognized as a constructor? Why run is not recognized as a constructor? Because it is not inheriting that type of thing. Now, because it is inheriting from the object, init is known as a constructor. Remember, when we are born, nobody will teach us how to cry and how to laugh, right? Later on, emotions we will understand by learning each and every year from our parents. But nobody will actually teach us how to cry, how to exercise when we are born as a baby, right? So how does it come from? So because we are inheriting from our ancestors, there is some DNA that really helps us to communicate with our parents. Like if you are hungry, you cry, you start to cry. Who said that crying will actually give and make the parents understand that you are hungry? Nobody will teach you, right? How you are crying. That's what the thought I always used to get. But now later on, when I'm becoming an adult, I can understand that, okay, there is some DNA that is passed from our parents. And based on the DNA, without me getting trained, because I'm inheriting all the properties of my parents, I know I need to cry if I want something because I cannot communicate in the other way. Later on, I will learn language and all. That's different. That's a different function. You have running, walking are all different functions. But what is the initial boot statement? So when you are booting your computer, everybody will say boot your computer, right? Before operating system is loaded, how the operating system is loaded by what? So there is some DNA, initial DNA type of thing called BIOS, basic input output system, that is in your ROM. So when you switch on your computer, ROM program will be activated and it starts loading the operating system into RAM so that you can see something onto the screen. Same thing happens with our babies also. When they are born with some initial DNA. So that has a program which always tell the baby to do how to communicate with the parents. The same thing here, when the human is being born, it is inheriting from the object to tell that it is the initialization. That is the reason why this is the first function to be invoked when you create an object for the human. So I think you are understanding this one, right? Am I recording this session?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. So I hope you understand that this is what we are inheriting. The way we are working out as a class is what we are inheriting. So when you are saying class, it is inheriting all the properties of becoming a class. So when you are inheriting the properties of becoming a class, whenever an object is created, this is the first function to be invoked. That's what it knows. That is what it inherits from the object class. Okay. Right. Coming back, we will create our new thing. Wait a second, it is opening still. Okay, why can't we use this one only for that? Okay. Now, when I'm talking about male and female human yesterday, right? Every time I call male and female human, you have this human is invoked, right? Let's see how it is going on. See, the human male, female has been created. Now, Kranti, in the line number 25, it is being called. And see, it goes to the third line. You can see that it goes to the third line and it says whether it is male or female, the human has been invoked. You can see here, right? And the next thing is that it is calling the female and giving birth is also invoked. That's fine. Run and everything has been invoked. Yeah, this is all what we got. But now you can see that there is no constructor specially for male human. If male human is not part of or inherited from the human itself, by default, there will be a constructor whether you write init or not. I'll just tell it to you this one. So if I remove this, what happens? Still it works. If I remove this, still it works, but it says the run is not there, of course. You can see up to shave it will work, shaving, because shaving is my function. Because it is not inheriting from human, run cannot be there because run is not there. But still Kranti is created as an object. So now you need to understand that by default, for every class, there will be a constructor. Even though you write or not, this is a default constructor that you have. So once people, if you have learned Java or C++ earlier, you will understand what is called a default constructor. So constructor is actually invisible. A default constructor is invisible. But if you want to give something like, I have customized it to print something, I might receive some values. Like yesterday I have told you, right? I might receive some values like this, A comma B. So while initializing the human itself, I want to initialize few things, okay? Like crying and laughing something. So this is what the customized constructor. By default, nothing will happen. Now, coming to inheritance, understand that when my male human is inheriting from the class called human, you need to understand that this particular one, which is there, is not at all default because it is inheriting from human. If you don't write any customized constructor, it will directly use the constructor of your parent class. Okay, it will directly use the constructor of your parent class. Because you might ask me, sir, if nothing is there, male human also should have a default constructor, right? This is the question it might appear in your mind, because I told you that if you don't write a default constructor, also there will be a default constructor. If you write not, it's not a matter. Customized constructors, because thing is written in the male human, so it should use the default construct of male human. Why it is going here? Remember, if male human is only a class and it is not inheriting from any other class, yes, the default constructor of male human will be invoked if you are not writing anything. If you are inheriting, the default constructor of male human is never cared. The constructor of its parent is only cared while invoking. But if I want to have my own constructor, I can write it. If I write it, definitely I will be given importance. See, so I'm writing something like print. This is all by experimentation. Male human is invoked. Okay. See what will happen now. So earlier when I'm calling male human, it always used to print human is invoked, and male also human is invoked. So what will be the answer for now if I execute this one? Can anybody predict what will be the output that comes here?
Firstly, it will say human is invoked, then male human is invoked, and then she.
No.
Male human is invoked, it will say.
Because I told you just now, when there is a constructor in the child class, the constructor of the child class is first given importance. If it is a default constructor in the child class, no, default is kept aside and the constructor of the parent class is invoked. Remember these points. If again I am repeating, if a child class is having default constructor, that means we haven't written anything, but still a constructor is invisible there. The constructor of the parent class is taken into consideration. If a child class has its own customized constructor, the child class constructor will be first given importance. It will not go to the parent's constructor. Did you remember now? So again, you remind yourself of what I am saying every time. Again, I'm repeating. If a child class has default constructor, that means you haven't written anything. then the parent constructor is given importance. If a child class has its own customized constructor, the child class constructor is first given importance. Okay, let us run and see what will happen. Okay, now Kranti is coming. Let's see. Yes, where did it go? It is directly coming to the constructor of child class because we have written something. So it is printing male human is invoked. But for free female, it will, okay, after printing all these things. Okay. But for female, it will print directly human is invoked because for female, we have default constructor. You see, the human is invoked. Okay, now everything works fine, remaining all. See, that's the difference because in female human, you have default constructor or invisible constructor. So the constructor of the parent is given importance. Okay, you can do a lot of experimentation on this. If you want, I will post this program and you can do whatever you can like. Excuse me. Copy. Possible, I will paste it in your mobile. So I'm pasting it in your group. You can just look into this, copy and paste and experiment it. I just posted in the WhatsApp. Okay, this is what happening. Now, if I want, so whenever I want this to happen, if I want something like what we say, I want to call the constructor. That means male human is invoked, and first human will be invoked and male human will be invoked. So there you have the appliance of super class, super function. So super dot init. So I hope this might work. Let us see what will happen. Yes, have you seen this? And super dot init has been called. Now it is directly going to super and then it is coming to printing these two things. See the difference here. What I have written, I have used a keyword called super and init. So what does this mean? Can anybody tell me so that I will type it in the comment? If I have
To the
a
super class and
Sir, it
Yeah.
goes to human, sir. Like it's human is the super class of male and female.
Yes, correct. So super class of male and female is human. So human init is invoked wherever you write. So after this statement, if you write wherever this statement is there, then the constructor of the human is also invoked. So that is the reason why I'm using this one. So wherever you use super, the super classes functions will be invoked from here. I will tell you what about other functions, you might get it out. Now we have looked into the constructor, right? So whenever you call male human is the child class of human and it is having its own customized constructor. So according to our principle, the customized constructor will be invoked first, naturally, and never it will call the parent constructor. So if you also want the parent constructor to be called, what you can do, you can just call like this. You can say super function dot init, the constructor, and then naturally everything that continues in your own constructors. This is how you can do it. You just remember this one. You can also study it in the book that I have given to you. Immediately study it so that you will remember that. Okay. Now, let's go to the concept of overriding. Overriding. So let us see what is overriding in inheritance. F walk self. Print walking as male. Okay, there might be walking difference in both male and female, right? Now we have definition walk of self, print, walking as female. Right. That's it. That's it. Finished. Let's see here. Walk is actually inherited, right? You might be asking me, sir, if we already inherited, how we can use this one? So actually we can say that it works like overloading, right? So because the same walk statement with two print statements, because you might be asking me, sir, this walk is also present in this male human, then why you are doing this one? It looks like overloading, but it is called overriding. It is called overriding. The reason is why we call overriding. When once you have inherited a function from your parent class, when once you have inherited a function from your parent class, you can directly use that function from the parent class. But there are sometimes you have to write your own program. I don't know whether you have experienced or not. If you are in Java, there are many libraries that are available, but the code is not revealed. Do you know or not? Actually, so when we go to stack programming, I will make you understand why overriding is really necessary. So sometimes what they will do is, I will put it into comment, and they write just pass. What happens, here, we know that human should walk, human should run, human should talk. We know that these things should be perfect. But we have a conceptual division, right? Our human is divided into both male and female. So both have different styles of walking, both have different styles of running, riding a bike, or talking, everything. Our pitch is also different, right? Our voice pitch and all. Because of this difference, we cannot define anything in walking. How we can say walk directly, right? Each thing has its own ability to walk. Then here, the function that you are showing in human is telling that if you are a human, you need to have this function definitely. But you are not defining how you are walking. Your definition should be in your concept division. That means a male human's walking is different from the female human's walking. So in this case, how you can have both a walk alike, right? Did you understand? The walking of male is different from walking of female. How can you define walking style for both? No. So in that case, what you do is just you write pass. You are telling that walking should be there in all the child classes which are inheriting from human parent class. Again, I'm repeating, I'm defining that walking function should be there in all the child classes inheriting from the parent human class. But you can define your own walking style, but walking should be there. In such cases, you can say this can be overriding. Overriding. So now I will override in both the cases, walking as male and walking as, sorry, here female, walking as female. I hope you are understanding what I am saying. Any doubt in this?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Yeah, understood, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let us see how it works. Okay, so init is actually doing all the job of initializations. It is first invoking the constructor. Now shave is called in male human, shaving is printed. Next run is called, I haven't written walking. So here I need to write walk instead of run. Now I will do it. All the classes will be done. Male human, constructor, and then shave is part of my male human, and then walk. So see, the walk is here. So now you need to understand, like your own constructor, if you have your own function, the function in the child class is first given importance, not the parent walk. You see, earlier it used to go to the 6th line whenever you call walk and run. Now also if you call run, it will go to the 10th line because we have no run in our child class, but we have a walk in our child class. So it is coming to 27th line. Remember, whether it might be a constructor or it might be a function, if the child class is overriding the function that is inheriting, the overridden function is first given importance, not the inherited function. So that is why it is coming to the line number 27, because this is the overridden function which is inherited from the human class. It's not giving the importance to the inheriting function. It is giving importance to the inherited overridden function. Okay. Now, so walking like a male is printed. See, next.
Sir, can we use super function also, sir, inside walk if we want?
Yes, definitely. We will use that one also. So again, initialization is done. So giving birth, and also again we call walking. It comes to the line number 36. You can see here, line number 36. It is working with female also. So it is walking like female. Okay, is the case that we can do. And now let's use this walking, that one also. Let us go. That's the reason why I have kept it in this. So I'll remove pass and I will remove it from the code. Now let's see what will happen now. I will call something like super dot walk. Okay, super dot walk, and let's see what will happen now. So for working, yeah, you see, so it is also working now. So working. Okay, so wherever you call super, that goes into that particular function. So now here we are actually overriding function. So first overriding function is given importance. Now you are also calling the inherited function. So you're saying, okay, whatever it might be, I am also calling inherited. So overriding, in the sense, already there is something called default walking statement, which you are replacing it with walking as male, and you are again calling the inherited function, which is from super, because the inherited function has been overridden actually. So you can never see a print statement called walking. So if you want to call it, you need to call super and say super, please execute your function also. So that's what this statement means. Okay, so you can use super function to call everything that is in your super class. That means your attributes, that means your data or your functions can be called from super class using super. If at all you are overriding, if you are not overriding, if you are removing this statement, naturally it will go to the super walk. There is no need for you to call super dot walk. Okay, and remember, the super function should be used only inside the functions or the constructor. You cannot use it outside the functions. Okay, that is why you see every time I am defining something inside a function, I'm using it inside a function. Right. So any doubt here? So did you understand overriding? Can anybody define what is overriding now? Just in your own words, what is
Sir,
over?
if the same function is repeated in the super class and the inherited class, then the inherited class is given the first preference.
And you need to mention that the inherited class, if it is modified, then it is called overriding.
Yes.
And it might be different from your parent function. Okay. So inherited function will, if it is modified a little bit and used, then it is called, then we are using the concept of overriding, because we are inheriting it from the parent function and we are just writing it on our own. We are not using the default what is given in the parent class. That's what you need to understand. Okay, this is what overriding. So overriding, once again I am defining. So by default, if you are inheriting from a class, you are also getting all the functions from the parent class. If you are directly using the inherited functions, then you are using the parent class function directly. But if you want to modify the functionality that you are inheriting, then you apply the concept of overriding. So for the functions which you are inheriting, if you change a little bit of functionality, then you are saying that you are overriding the function. Okay, so you have your default parent function, and along with that you can use your inherited overrided function. So naturally, when you call a function name, every time the inherited overriding function is first given importance. But if you also want to use the inheriting function from your parent class, you can go for using super. Okay, note down the statement so that you can remember while writing your examination. So this is what we are doing, right? Let us go for our thing, like right. Yeah, let's come to polymorphism. So you can see the uses of polymorphism extensively in built-in types. Here we use the same indexing operator for 3 different data types. So let's see what will happen. So polymorphism is commonly used to deal with inheritance. Like just we have written, you can see A is alpha, and you see that we have tuple and this one. So you can call like A of 2, A of B of 1, and A of 3 also, C of 3 also. So that you see here, why somebody is saying that it is polymorphism. Can anybody tell me why this is polymorphism? Any idea from your side?
It's making indexes common for everything. The
Yes,
string
that's
tuple.
correct. That's correct. So whatever the shape that they look, they are put in a double quotes, they're put in parentheses, they're put in square brackets with individual characters, right? Each one is individual character here. But still, all are getting some indexes starting from 0, 1, 2 for everything, you see. So the concept of indexing is being applied to all the different data structures that you have. So this is a string data structure or a string class. This is a tuple class. This is a list class. But the concept of indexing is common to all. This is what we see the polymorphism here. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, in general also it is common only, no, sir, the indexing for string, tuple and list.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. The commonality of indexing itself is polymorphism.
Okay, sir.
If you understand. So
Yes.
indexing is a concept. Indexing is a concept which is applied to different classes there. Okay. So whatever the shape might be that you are looking into, the alpha is different from 1, 2, 3, 4 is different from OMEGA, right? But still indexing is common for all of them. So this is what the polymorphism lies. So indexing for different data structure is different. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Now there are two kinds of polymorphism. One is overloading. 2 or more methods with different signatures. So Python operators work for built-in classes. I will tell you after the examination. Tomorrow is your examination, right?
Yes, sir.
So I will tell you tomorrow after the examination how to use overriding of the operator. So that will be eliminated for our examination today for the next class. So this is not there. I will tell you what is this with different signatures. And now just now we have seen that what is overriding. Replacing an inherited method with another having the same signature. What is a signature? So we have the same parentheses or parameters or arguments and the same name, right? But inside functionality is different. That's what it is saying. Replacing an inherited function with another having the same signature. Okay, the walk, the example of walk that we have just seen here now. So this is the concept of operator overloading that we will discuss later. I think it's enough for polymorphism. So I will just show you another example of how the polymorphism works. If you already learned C, you will be very happy to know this, how it works. Now let's see some functions like definition, add of A comma B comma C. That's what yesterday I'm saying. Return A plus B plus C. So definition, add of A, it's a simple example. We might go for very complex examples later. Return A plus B. So now you see, print add of 2 comma 3 comma 4. Print add of 3 comma 4. Now let's see what functions will be invoked in each time. So both are having the same thing. In C programming, it is not possible. It might say there is an ambiguity in add function. But you see, what it is saying, add takes 2 positional arguments, but 3 were given. What is this? So both were given, right? What happens here? Should work. No, it is not working. I don't know. See. Okay, it works now. I don't know. I think that the latest statement has been taken further by this particular editor. So that is the reason why it has done like this. If I am keeping like this, the latest modification of the function has been taken. So that is the reason why it is having like that. But it is possible that you can run like this. Okay. So whenever you define a new function, if you call, it doesn't have any ambiguity. It will directly go to the recent one because it will understand that this is the recent. It never bothers about the previous one with different parameters. So in the next time, we will also go for overloading the in deep into the functions and also into the operators. Okay. So I think we can close this class. So your portion will be up to the polymorphism, the basics of data structures which I have uploaded. And I have given these 2 slides to you already, and you can study that in this textbook that I have given to you, like how to code in Python. So I think all the best for your examination. It will be up to overriding your functions. So study all the concepts up to overriding. Right? Any doubt in your examination perspective? Or shall we close?
No doubt, sir.
Yeah, then we will close now.
Sir, extend the date for the assignment.
Okay, I will do that. I will do that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.